Well, good morning. Now, they say the early bird catches the worm, but you have to be up even earlier than that to get the sound of the elk. Now, what you're hearing behind me, very haunting, eerie sound, that's actually the bugling of the elk. And they do it for a couple of reasons. The males bugle to, they're very territorial, so they're letting other males know that they're there and stay out of my area. But they're also, it's a mating call. They're trying to call females in. And it's incredible. It's coming from all around the valley here. It's so crisp and clear, and it just sounds so eerie. It's amazing. The reason that we've come to this property is because of its conservationist credentials. Now, before we get into all of that, let me give you just a little bit of a history lesson. Now, William Bartlett bought the property in the early 1900s, and over the next several decades, the property changed hands many, many times. Now, by the late 1960s, a widow of one of the previous owners sold the land to Pennzoil. Now, Pennzoil did not look after the land at all. They overfished, they overgrazed, they overhunted, and they overmined, hence these big wellheads. Now, fast forward about 20 years, and Ted Turner had the opportunity to purchase the property, and as we know, he's a big conservationist. Now, unfortunately, as part of the negotiation, Pennzoil still had the rights to mine the natural gas here and the natural resources, and there are actually still about 1,100 of these wellheads all around the property, just to give you a little reminder of its checkered past. Now, the good news is that natural resource will actually run out in about 7 years or so, and Pennzoil have been charged by restoring everywhere that these wellheads were. So hopefully in about 7 to 10 years you can come up here and you would never know these big ugly things were here. I'm here with Jeremy Gingrich, who is the Assistant General Manager here on the ranch. Jeremy, how are you, man?
Good to see you, Rick.
Good, thank you. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in this ranch, especially since Ted Turner purchased it in 1996.
You know, on all of Ted's ranches, the mission statement that we have is to manage turtle lands for economic sustainability, environmental sensitivity, and the conservation of native species and habitats. Bison really fit right into that. One of Ted's passions and why he got into owning land was to be able to preserve a species like bison. It's a national mammal. It's really a part of all of our history.
They really are beautiful creatures, but I am a little bit nervous. They are low close, but...
You know, when he purchased it, there was a small herd that had been here since the mid-20th century, and there was only about 100 head here when he purchased it.
And how many are there today?
Right, we've been able to grow the herd to about 1,400 head.
Oh, wow.
They have 500,000 acres of grass to roam on, but every year we harvest a small amount of them, and they go into the market, and some of them end up at Ted's Montana Grill.
So let me get this straight. Ted Turner quite literally created the supply and the demand for bison meat.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Oh, wow. Well, I hate to say this, guys, but I'm actually a little peckish, and I'm going to head over to one of these Ted Turner Montana grills and try a little bison meat.
Sounds good. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. So here I am. I made it to Ted's Montana Grill, an American chain restaurant specializing in bison. Now, they were established in 2002, and today there are 45 restaurants in 17 states. Now, the concept of the restaurant was established to create a demand for bison, and what's the point of having a supply if you don't have a demand? It was also created to educate the American people on bison, and I tell you what, I'm ready to be educated via a nice big bison burger. Yep, definitely lots of bison meat on the menu. Now, Ted Turner realized the importance to the survival of the species by educating the public on bison. It's been a very successful program. The restaurants are extremely successful, so much so that other restaurants are actually putting bison on their menus. Now, I think it's important to note too that all the restaurants are very environmentally friendly, and sometimes it's just the devil in the details, whether it's the paper straws, environmentally friendly bathrooms, or of course the responsible sourcing of the bison. And yeah, hey buddy, yeah, I think I recognize this guy from the ranch. Back at the ranch, as Jeremy and I drove around, I was surprised to see a fence when I had been told that when Ted Turner purchased the property, he had removed all the internal fencing. But Jeremy explained to me that this was all part of the riparian restoration project. So Jeremy, this is one of the regeneration spots down here, is that right?
It is. This is one of the locations on the Bermejo River where we've built an exclosure to keep grazing and browsing animals out, and what that does is allows the riparian vegetation, the willows, the alders, shrubs and forbs and grasses to grow up along the river.
Yeah. Now, what would happen if that fence hadn't been there for the last couple of years?
It'd be grazed down very shortly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of animals, and this is one of the most productive areas of the ranch along the rivers, and so it would really be grazed quite short and not have that shade and vegetation we want by the
So
river.
just not as much vegetation. Is there a chance we can get down there close enough so we can see up
Sure.
close how
Yeah,
it
let's go
really
take a
Yep,
closer
cool.
look.
Perfect. So my big question for you is why? Why recover these riverbank?
Our goal eventually is to get more of this kind of vegetation and get the streams narrower and deeper, and that keeps the water cooler, and so trout actually will have a longer stretch that they can survive in this river. The other thing it does, it actually it provides great habitat for migratory birds and all sorts of wildlife species.
Yeah. And how is the program going?
You know, it's going very well. We have now 10 of these exclosures along the river, and we think probably after about 8 of 10 years, this area will be recovered and we can take down the fences.
Fantastic. It's really good to see that you guys are not just looking to protect the environment, but actually add to its well-being.
It's great. You know, it's part of Ted's vision for Vermeil Park and all the ranches.
Oh, amazing. One of the great things about doing a program like this is you never know what is going to happen next. And as we drove back to HQ, I thought I spotted something in the trees. If you look over my shoulder here, you'll see the bear at the front of the tree line and its little cub, which is a little blonder, just a little further up. And this is the beauty of being somewhere like this, that you actually just come across this, them in their natural habitat. I'm really excited. I've never seen a bear in the wild before in my life. This is amazing.